When does an Indian win an Olympic TT medal?
Olympic medal is not far away. Who knows? 2028 LA could be that historic year where Indian table tennis gets its first Olympic medal.
Your hero Timo Boll once came back from 4-10 down in a World Cup quarterfinal. Walk me through your own 4-10 moment.
So for me, I felt it is the easiest to play when you are down because you're almost losing. You are on the brink of the defeat. You go out there and give your best. There have been a lot of comebacks coming down from 0-3 and then winning the match 4-3.
You lost your father in 2015 and days later you won gold at the Commonwealth Championship. How are you feeling back then?
I started playing like nothing matters anymore. You know, what more you can lose? Probably a match or probably a tournament, and that's never going to be equal of losing the person you loved so much. I had a lot of anger that how could you take my father away, at this point of time, which I felt I showed it on the court, and that really turned out to be a beast or a monstrous Sathiyan coming out.
Today, we're joined by India's table tennis star G. Sathiyan, the man who became the first Indian to break into the world's top 25. Let's get started. Hi sir, so glad to chat with you today. Thank you for coming. I complain about 2 hours of homework. You do 6 to 7 hours of training plus gym. Walk me through this, and what's the hardest hour of your day?
I think things become easier when you do something you really like. So playing table tennis has been my favorite thing. So definitely, putting more hours is interesting for me. It was much more fun and interesting than studying for sure. I can vouch for that. Yes, you have a plan and a calendar on how I function. So there is, morning you wake up, you do the strength training, the gym, and then followed by table tennis. It becomes more like a routine. So yes, it becomes challenging, to do it day after day. But when you feel like it's a routine which you need to do and you really enjoy getting onto the court, lifting weights, that is something I've really enjoyed through it. And I have a great team which keep pushing me to play every single day.
2021, you're across the table from Sharath Kamal, 10 times national champion. What was the one thing in your head at match point?
I really need to win this point is what always comes into my mind. Yes, winning the national championship was a very, very, important victory for me. And it was even better beating a legend like Sharath Kamal on the other side of the court. For me, I felt, I did not think about I was playing Sharath on the other side. I just wanted to focus on that very single point. I just wanted to win that point and that tournament, that championship. That is what made things easier. And it turned out to be the legend Sharath Kamal on the other side. And I'm super happy that I could at least win at that time, even when Sharath has won it 10 times.
You look up to Sharath Kamal. What's the most honest thing he's ever said to you?
Sharath Anna, we fondly call him, he's shared a lot of insights with me on how to handle pressure. So I would always, one thing I've really learned from him is how to handle pressure at the highest level, how to lead the team and how to, take care of things when you get into a match. Because once you get into a match, you are mostly into like autopilot mode. But it is very important what you do before going into a match. So I've seen his preparations, the meticulous preparation, his discipline is something I always feel you have to really learn about. No other player could match. His discipline day in and day out, irrespective of the results. That is something I've really learned. And how to be a very cool person off the court and how to be an aggressive person on the court, and that both dual characters, I think something I've really learned about him. And if I have to say one thing, and it's about handling pressure at the highest level. That's one thing Sharath Anna we fondly call him, have really taught us.
Coach Raman gives you secret pointers before every match. Give us one. What's a pointer that actually won you a match?
Raman sir, I would say, knows my game in and out about my game on whatever I play. He's trained me for the last 14 years. Made me from a very passive, junior player and transitioned into a world-class senior player. Secret pointers. It's really hard to pinpoint one, but I would say he's an out-of-the-box thinker. Something he gives some ideas or strategies which you not even think in your wildest dreams, and it has turned out very well. I remember in 2014 in national championship, he said give a little bit an easy receive in the backhand side. I was like, you can't be serious. And he said, no, that's the strategy. You just go, trust me. I am there to answer the media if something goes wrong. And then we all fell into laughter. So he knows how to handle the pressure and give us out of the box ideas. And the trust is so much that I feel, I just try to execute, and it's always worked wonders.
You scored 96% in class 10 while playing nationals. Every student watching wants to know, what did you sacrifice and was it worth it?
Oh, thanks for taking me back into my school days. Yes, not putting any pressure. I don't want to be that parent putting pressure on the kids for the marks. It's about I enjoyed the process, I would say, because as much as I loved table tennis, I also loved numbers, maths, and kind of getting into the subjects. So I always wanted to learn the concepts and enjoy everything when I do. So I think the most important part was I made a program. It was how table tennis was. You start from level 1, first game, second game. So I used to have separate programs, and then I would say playing table tennis was much more difficult than studying, because you know what's coming in the exam. Like you have a syllabus, you have a curriculum, you go, but playing table tennis, you don't know what the other opponents has ideas or has in the sleeves. So yes, if you plan it really well and you have a good team around you, you set up a good environment, I'm pretty sure it's much easier to balance both academics and sports.
You lost your father in 2015 and days later you won gold at the Commonwealth Championship. How are you feeling back then?
Well, I think one of the toughest times in my life, I would say, losing father, we didn't know how to react, and everything fell apart. So one thing that really changed me, I would say, I started playing like, and nothing matters anymore. What more you can lose? Probably a match or probably a tournament, and that's never going to be equal of losing the person you loved so much. So I played like there is no tomorrow. I played fearless. I kind of always felt that dad was with me, and I just went there and played like aggressive, showing all the anger. I had a lot of anger that how can you take my father away, at this point of time. I had a lot of anger, which I felt I showed it on the court. And that really turned out to be a beast or a monstrous Sathiyan coming out. And from there, my graph took off. I felt my dad was there to support me. And one thing I felt sad is he's not there to see this successful Sathiyan out there. But I'm sure he would be seeing me somewhere and from up and be happy about what I achieved and what he always wanted me to be.
When your back gave out and the spasm spread to your knees, your weapon was just speed. What was the darkest day of your rehab?
Rehab itself is so dark, I would say. Waking up every day knowing you can't play the sport you love. I think that was the most difficult part. And the pain in the knees is something you can always manage. But the pain in your mind and your head that you can't go and play out there, that is the most difficult part. So the injury, it's not about the physical injury, which troubles you a lot. The mental trauma you go through, something which you can't do. So I had to not only have a physio along with me, I had to train with a mental conditioning coach as well every day. So it was a program on to make sure that I'm playing table tennis in my mind every day, I am associated with the sport every day. That was very key to survive the injury. Yes, I've had very less injuries, touch wood, in my career, but having injuries is the toughest part. Coming back from the injuries is something I really learned on being aware about my body, being respectful to your body, always listen to your body, and then it's going to give you rewards when you follow the routines.
Ma Long, who's the greatest ever, says he gets more nervous the more he wins. After the Arjuna Award, after the CWD medals, are you more scared now than when you were a nobody?
I mean, definitely it's very, very tough to kind of maintain your levels. So I would not say scared. Yes, I have, as a kid, I always thought that the world champion or the Olympic champion had no, they were not nervous. They were like, had, kind of, they were steel, made of steel. They won't feel like what I'm feeling, but then I was wrong. When I grew up, that's when I started to feel that everyone is a human being, whether it's been Malong or the legend, even like players like Wallner, they've always felt it. It's about how you handle them. So yes, when you're going at the top, when you're winning, that's when you need to be really careful. Because when you're losing, I always feel, you're already at the bottom. It will only get better. So when you lose a match, it's okay, because next time it's only going to get better. But when you're winning, the pressure is very high. Of course, I was nervous. So, but I made a plan, to learn from, how to get better every day. And I always feel pressure is a privilege. Not everyone gets to experience that. So I kind of liked being in the limelight. You worked for this. So being in that zone of feeling the pressure, to handle that, to thrive through it. And something I always worked to play under those circumstances. And if Malong can feel the pressure after winning multiple world championship titles, Olympic titles, Sathiyan can definitely feel it too. So I have experienced that, and I have learned to play along with it.
Ma Long's coach famously prescribed him a drink at a bar to calm his nerves. You've got coffee with family and movies. What's the weirdest thing you've ever done the night before a big final?
Definitely, nothing, if I have an alcohol, I'm not going to wake up tomorrow for the match. So that is something I would not dare to try. Yes, coffee kind of gives me that comfort. So one thing I always have is to have a coffee before a match. Strong coffee gives me that booster and also makes me feel very comfort. So, but I always feel family is the best medicine or a dose, because they are with you no matter you win a match or you lose a match, you have had a terrible day on the court. The family, your wife is always treating you the same. So for me, they have been the go-to persons, irrespective of what happens. And I always felt you are more than a table tennis player. Sathiyan is a table tennis player, but Sathiyan is also a father. Sathiyan is also a husband. He's a normal human being. So when you feel that way and you're not too much worried about losing a match or, playing the next match.
And what do you think that countries like China, Japan and Thailand have in table tennis that India doesn't?
I mean, India is definitely, upcoming superpower in sports. We have come a long way for sure from where we started. China, Japan have had some great systems in place. Like, they have made sports, everyday routine. They have made sports like a part of daily life of the children. I have been to a lot of academies in China. You can't even count the tables in the hall. So you don't see the other end of the hall. So the infrastructure they have, and it's just not about the infrastructure, making the children play the sport. It's more like making them involved, to just go out and experience the beauty of playing the sport. So they have been very successful in doing that. And that's why you see they are like a machine. So you have, so many million players playing table tennis. There are players, Malong, Mongchukin. There are a lot of players who have coming year on year. So yes, I would say they have had a curriculum, like how we have for academic. They have a curriculum in place for table tennis. They have coaches in place. They have infrastructure. They have leagues, which we also have now with the Ultimate Table Tennis League. We have started a little bit late than what China did 60, 70 years back. But I'm pretty sure India is catching up, and we will catch up to them very soon.
Fans and dogs said online trolls broke him more than any opponent did. You're on Instagram, you're visible. What's the comment that hurt the most?
Well, I mean, when you enjoy the appreciations, the praise, the high of being celebrated in social media, there is also a flip side to it. When you play bad, yes, I mean, I've always felt like there have been moments when people don't understand the pain of losing a match. Like, you feel the most when you lose a match. Like, you really feel bad. I think no one else can feel more bad than you losing a match. So I think that is something I always felt. And but then you have to be a sportsman, shake hands and come out. You have to maintain that. So yes, online trolls is something very difficult in this new era. I have seen the newspaper era, and then coming into the online era, there's been a transition there. But I have gotten used to accepting that people do criticize because they kind of also want you to win. So I take it in a positive way. So I would want to change that negative troll into a positive praise by showing them what I've got on the table.
Fans and Dong escaped to the Bundesliga. You went there too. What does Germany give an Asian player that home can't?
The German Bundesliga, I think it's more like a culture they have built. You have seen football, right? It's a table tennis equivalent of football version there. They have built an entire club system where players from all over the world come in. They have a top tier coach, top tier infrastructure, entire team playing, and then you get to play matches with other players with packed crowds, feeling that pressure, feeling that nerves. I feel, playing in the top German league gave me that boldness to manage the nerves and to play better at the international level. And then only one Asian gets to play in a team. So you have to be that special Asian. I was luckily that one Asian who could be a part of, the Grunwettersbach team in Bundesliga. And that's something I really enjoyed when the fans are very close to you. They become like family. We celebrate every win. I remember we won a German Cup and we were going on the streets with a van celebrating like we have won the World Championships. So that was the feel. And it gave me a lot of experience playing different kind of players, traveling to different places, quickly adapting to the scenario, playing in a team match. And I would say that is something I've learned. And a lot of leagues have come in. We have started giving competition to German Bundesliga now. German players are coming to India now to play in the Ultimate Table Tennis League. And there are a lot of other leagues started in the Asia. So I would say we are also giving a tough competition now to the top European leagues.
Your hero Timo Boll once came back from 4-10 down in a World Cup quarterfinal. Walk me through your own 4-10 moment. Score, opponent, all of it.
Well, I mean, I have had matches, a lot of matches where I've come from behind. I would say there are a lot of, even headlines where the comeback has been more than I have had from even Stephen. So for me, I felt it is the easiest to play when you are down. So I always felt because you're almost losing, you are on the brink of the defeat, you go out there and give your best. So as you start, when you're losing, then you kind of feel like you have to try something out of the box. So Timo probably went all out. And I have seen the top players play, they become very dangerous when they are, down in a game, because they give everything on the court. They try every serve, they go for every shot. And that's what exactly I try to do. When you're down, when you're losing in a match, I just go out there and try to give every point I can play the best to. And I just can't remember exactly every match, but there have been a lot of comebacks coming down from 0-3 and then winning the match 4-3.
Have you ever told Boll he's your hero?
Yes, I have told him. As a kid, I had a practice session with him in Germany. I was very, very fortunate. I was not even in the top 100 at that time. and he came to me and he said, "Oh no, why are you not playing in Bundesliga?" He felt that you're that good. I really know that there is the day is not far that you're coming and going to play along with me. And I played him in the 2019 World Cup a couple of years later. So he was like, I knew that you're there at that level. And I've told him, I always looked up to you on being calm. And I always compare him to the MS Dhoni of table tennis. Yeah, he carries a very calm composure during pressure. He has a straight face, but he gets the work done, and a true statesman of the sport. Something I've really, admired.
And what happened when you told Boll that he is your hero?
He's a guy who's very very no nonsense, and he's more composed. He's like, thank you, that's it. He doesn't even, when Timo Boll comes in, you don't feel like he's the legend of the sport who's walking to you. He just comes in. When we had a practice session, we feel like he was more like my friend who I've been practicing for many years together. That's how he treated me. He just walked in, had a great practice session, talked with me on a lot of inputs, and he gives that comfort. He gives that comfort, and he's more like a friend to you always when you're there. And he humbly accepted it, and there was no other reaction or kind of a huge reaction from him.
And what do you like more in table tennis, smashes or defense?
Definitely, I want to attack all the time, but I would say, I've always had a soft corner towards defensive game as well. As a kid, I always wanted to place, give that variations, have that defensive thing in me. But Raman sir changed a lot in me, getting me into that offensive mode. But I always have a mix of defense and offense. I would say counter-attacking area is where I have become the expert in.
Rapid fire, quick answers, no thinking. What's the toughest opponent ever?
Shushin.
Best meal in Japan during T-League?
Ramen.
One thing the Bundesliga taught you that India couldn't?
Bundesliga. Handling pressure.
Mary Kom or Timo Boll? Who inspires you more?
Oh, very tough question. Mary Kom.
You stood across the table from the Chinese greats. Pick one. What do they do in the first 30 seconds of a match that no video ever shows you?
I mean, playing at the top level, you have this, weapon where you really see what they do. For me, Chinese, we put them like, they are in a different pedestal. They are not. They are very much human beings like us. They train. It's that discipline, and it's that they have made their toughest battles. They have already practiced that. So that is what I feel, I see them playing 30 minutes of multi-ball before a match. They have practiced that. So they have gotten used to the hard work. They've gotten used to, they also feel nervous. I feel they are more nervous than the Indians. But then they have just trained to play their best level. So they believe in that game. So for me, I always feel Chinese have a great book on what needs to be done at what level, how to prepare for a match. They just go by it irrespective of who's on the other side, and they just go out and play that skills. So something I've learned from them is that irrespective of who you play, Chinese or Japanese, go out there and play by the book.
When you look back to time, what would you prefer? Like getting 100 in your boards or winning a championship in table tennis now?
Okay, definitely winning a championship, in a table tennis event, because you are that one. Like I always wanted to be that. You could be really good and you still lose a match. There might be 100 of them getting 100 in boards, but then there can be how good you are. There can be only one champion. There can be only one Olympic gold medalist. So it is definitely tough and definitely more rewarding. So no doubt, I would pick any other option for sure than getting 100 in the board exams.
You said India will break the Chinese wall in table tennis. Give me a year. When does an Indian win an Olympic TT medal?
Yes, I feel Indian team has already started making cracks in the Chinese wall. We have started to get some inroads, beat the Chinese players in a WTT events. I have beaten Wang Chuqin, who's the world number 1 now. So there have been improvements. It's like breaking a massive wall which they have built. It's going to take some time for sure. There have been good improvements. Now Chinese is not the superpower like they used to be. So I'm pretty sure Olympic medal is not far away. So we are getting in the on track, and who knows, 2028 LA could be that historic year where Indian table tennis gets its first Olympic medal.
And do you need fitness in table tennis? Because in sports like cricket, football, you need to run, but in table tennis, you just need to stand and you need to play. So do you need fitness?
I'm pretty sure if they play one game with me, anyone who feels fitness is not necessary in table tennis, they would really completely agree that what kind of fitness is required in table tennis at the highest level. There are different components of fitness which is required for cricket, for football, for tennis. Different components of fitness which is required for table tennis. The extreme speed and agility, reaction, reflex. These are some things which you need to train, and you also need to have good amount of explosive strength. So there is a lot of fitness involved at table tennis to play at the highest level, and it's certainly something, if you really stand at the table, you're going to see balls flying past you, and when you go and pick up the ball. So fitness is really key to play table tennis at the highest level.
There's a 14-year-old watching this who's been told to choose between marks and sports. You refuse to choose. What do you tell them in one line?
I would always have a soft corner towards table tennis. If you're really good at table tennis or any sport, pick up the sport, play that sport, because not everyone has that opportunity. But academics is equally important. Academics gave me that discipline. Coming from a very academic driven family, we had like university gold medalists. My father, my mother was really good at academics. So it was not easy to convince them that I'm going to just play the sport. But I also had an inclination towards academics. So just planning really well, definitely you can balance both. But at a later stage, when I felt table tennis was my calling, I made that move. But as a youngster, you can really balance both. And having both academics and sports really gives you that kind of confidence which no other normal school-going student can have. So that really helped me to be more confident in life, I would say.
Name the one Indian kid playing right now under 18 who will go further than you.
I would really wish anyone wants to go further than me. It's more for the sport. I'm always there. Those under 18 kids is one motivation for me, like who's going to push me hard. Right now I feel Divyanshi Bhomik, who's been doing really great in table tennis. We have picked her in Dabang Delhi this time in the ultimate table tennis season as well. So I'm pretty sure, you never know, Divyanshi Bhomik can go all the way and do wonders and become the prodigy which we have been all waiting for.
How is it being a new father?
I mean, definitely something I always loved doing it. It's a very, very tough process because it's more like you don't know what's coming up next. The thrill of being a father is something you're learning every day. Being with a newborn kid, it gives a lot of happiness, which I can never express. I would say, going back to Aran, you really forget what happened that day. You didn't hit a good topspin, or you didn't do well in a match. Nothing of that matters. He gives you that same cute smile when you look at him and you lift him. And I think that's something priceless. And I'm going to love this journey. So it's something, if you have to say, I would be more proud father than as an athlete.
You're known as one of the fastest players in the world. Can you show me right here what kill the third ball actually looks like?
Let's have a look.
Sathiyan didn't choose between the table and the textbook. He took both. If this episode hits, you know what to do.